sure you're doing your due diligence in your job and you're carrying a pretty hefty load when you're sitting in your position. I commend you for that. And the question I'm about to ask is, we sat in here yesterday with the chairman of the Crow tribe, and the chairman stated that the attorneys, the social workers, are being held in contempt at Yellowstone County Court. And these Crow tribal members that are in the state's custody, there hasn't been representation from the BIA, the tribal social workers, and the attorney hasn't been there either from Elk River. I guess they haven't been paid by the tribe. And there's nobody attending these hearings on behalf of these Crow children. And there's a social worker at the CPS in Billings, Quinn Emmett, said that this was the only legal remedy for these Crow kids, and I don't think that's so. Because these were ICWA cases, and I don't think they have jurisdiction over these children. And I tried to help some of these cases and these people, but I'm not listed as a party in these cases. And I think in your court, I don't know if you guys are declining these cases, and they should be transferred to your court, or does the court determine that it has good cause to the contrary, and if it exists, deny these transfers? If you deny these transfers, I think it's in the ICWA law that you have to put it in writing. If you did, can you provide us a copy of that?
Mr. Speaker, Senator DeMonte, very good question. I would implore you to come over to the judicial branch, sign a confidentiality agreement, and on any of these cases that you're interested in, if the tribe doesn't have an objection and the parents don't have an objection, we'll open the file for you that you're interested in looking at, as long as you sign the confidentiality agreement. And to answer your question plainly and respectfully, I have never turned away a case that has been motioned to be transferred to the tribal court. I have never turned away one. In the almost 5 years I've been there, I have never turned away one. Not once. Now, if the ICWA lawyer or ICWA attorney, like let's say Elk River, when they staff a situation with the BIA Social Services and or 4E and or Department of Family Services, State of Montana, make the determination that the transfer is not in the child's best interest, or one of the parents disagrees, then the ICWA law provides that the motion does not have to be made by the Crow tribe on behalf of the family. And if the motion is not made before the court, then we can't accept that jurisdiction unless the motion has been made by the juvenile presenter or the ICWA attorney. That action has to take place and come before the court. And when it comes before the court, we used to have hearings. Okay, in order to streamline that, I've asked for proposed orders and skipped the hearing and just accept jurisdiction and didn't take our children back. That's what we've done 100% of the time. And I have never denied a case. It's always been my goal to bring Crow children home. I was the original sponsor of the Child in Need of Care Act. Vice Chair was there at the time. He supported it. I was the head of the Health and Human Services Committee. In 2005, we went to DC to fight the Bureau of Indian Affairs because the area director at the time encouraged the chairman not to sign it into law. So we met with Carl Artman, Secretary of Interior, Assistant Secretary at the time, overseeing the Bureau of Indian Affairs under, I think it was George W. Bush. And we demanded, when we asked the question, why are you encouraging the chairman not to sign? These are our children. These are the children we want to bring home. So with that, Senator, anytime, come and sign a confidentiality agreement. The parties don't object to waiving that confidentiality. You're more than welcome to look at the files and come up with your own determination. But I can tell you this, that I can sleep at night to say that I've never turned away a Crow child.
Yeah, that's where the representation didn't come in, because in that courtroom they needed to show cause, and before they got adjudicated, no representation again. So, like I said, with all due respect, these are just things that were stated to the chairman. He was aware of it, and I think there was some trouble with financing some of the social workers, but it's just an ongoing thing that needs to be dealt with. And thank you for hearing me out.
Thank you. Mr. Speaker, if I may, I've written a letter. I think the last session I got everybody a copy here about my concerns in Crow children. Writing a letter to the congressional delegation about, it's not only happening in Yellowstone County, it's happening at the Crow Tribal Court. We still have BIA social workers, 4E workers that aren't showing up for court. So we issue an order to show cause, grant them an opportunity to show and explain to the court why they didn't show for that hearing. And then oftentimes they're held in contempt. They're given a fine and they have to pay it within a certain amount of time, or they serve jail time. I mean, it's simple as that. And I wrote the letter. BIA responded, called us a bunch of dummies, that we weren't competent enough to oversee social service matters as far as questioning what the social workers do, and we're a bunch of dummies at the tribal court. And we did our own internal investigation. Well, I asked members of Congress to do an OIG investigation. The staffers were calling me on a daily basis at one point, and then the chairman's office issued a letter stating that don't listen to the chief judge without my endorsement, and basically it fell on deaf ears. And this was in the interest of protecting our Crow children, but I guess it's not really that important to, to either the chairman's office or the Bureau of Indian Affairs. So I don't know. The social services and 4E are under the direct government-to-government relationship with the chairman's office. When they don't show for our court, we certainly do our best to hold them accountable. There are times the BIA has stated to us that we're not going to court because you don't have jurisdiction over us. You can't do that to federal employees because that's a solicitor's opinion. And I go to Luis Reyes, get me your solicitor's opinion. That was about 5 years ago. To this day, nothing. Thank you, Senator, for the question.
Thank you. Can we get, before I forget on the end, so can we get copies of those requests from the OIG?
You bet.
The request to OIG, and what was the other one you had?
The letter to...
Yes.
The
Detention.
Correct. I'll get you all on. Yeah.
Okay. Floor recognizes Senator Robert.
They've been provided in the past two sessions. The quarterly report, the letters, they've already been provided to you guys.
Just get another copy of them, just so point them out to us where they're at, so if we have them, get some copies. Thanks. Senator Robert.
Thank you, Chief Judge. Na branch DJ, she wants you to talk about now, buddy, that she could reappropriate that good, because take it a serious joke, that backbone that they go for the government. Now, absolutely, she protected by those who could go you and make crimes that I think you will out. And those who could die then was yeah, I was the one, not change it. assault, nothing was done. We need a functioning judicial branch. And you can show, but the police systems, they do look, salaries down, look, show, but Mahaji do. I give it on Jim, you walk a dog, gee, my dog, injunction to them, a branch there, one that will get gee, my dog, from our branch, the legislative branch, injunction deal, I was injunction, Majidal, injunction, injunction is where the teeth are, not teeth, it is, we do it. And then we make sure that your people, your judges, your appellate judges, everything is paid. And I'm beginning to sound like a broken record that we need to make it happen. And I get the chief judge to show back and you because I get cell phone there, salary style use this side, you could do man, this side I got a show by that maybe be Joahat. I did everything.
Senator Wilbert Hope for your voice of support for the branch of government, members of the body. Yeah, I mean, you can join us. I'm filing today or tomorrow a writ of mandamus. I'm bringing in a special judge to oversee the matter. Well, I have to assign another judge to pick and choose a special judge. I can't do that. It'll be a conflict. But the legislative branch is more than welcome to join us as co-plaintiffs. And I think that will speak volumes to the Crow people that you're moving on behalf of the Crow people, on behalf of the elders, on behalf of the programs and the people that haven't been paid. The suggestion I have is this body can decide to join us, either file an amicus brief or get together with legal counsel, the new guy, what's his name? Thor, the Dick Batchaj. He's proven. He's today. So I mean, I think that would speak volumes for your constituency, especially it's statutory. I may be taking a risk saying this, but we know that it's statutory to pay the elders, and if we're not upholding statute, especially I've had folks come up and say, gas money really, elders, I do what I can. Groceries fall, I make a list and try to get them some hamburger and macaroni. I mean, so anyway, Mr. Speaker, I'm full disclosure. I'm on file. I mean, they may throw stones at me. They may politicians may move to remove me, but I want to stand for the Crow people and support the three branches of government and take this matter to court. That's what I'm about. Thanks.
You got more questions?
Just Senator Robert.
Thank you. Ik written mandamus when I was vice chair, chair of finance a year ago. Allocate cookbook. There are federal money allocate cookbook, you cookbook, Mahanaji Hayes sell up, you cookbook. We did that law that way right here. And you Jacob could cook. And legislative branch wouldn't in salaries all use this elders use this trash on and on, the barrel expense, everything. Our government mall claps it. Government mall claps it can soap up salaries Shiva and Milgam Louis Nega Lage Majuka Bob and Shop Trash good. Man, watch public hearing, get them launch guys, come near Diwu Cholik, Bazatsa, you told him, then you walk back, Song in Lady lecture to Chile, and your place. No, there was it, Leroy, he's not an Alfred, he's a sage, I'll get with you. And when I get a written that name is that deal, not the last time, Leroy Sage, Chief Leroy Sage, now, go you. And well, they'll go that you, cook, and you chief, you, cook. What tell you that? You'll kill it, Vic. And when I get it, you, that's it, Jay. Oh, thank you.
Oh, Senator Wilbur, thank you for your word of support. You actually. God bless you. Mr. Speaker, members of the body, I thank you for the words of encouragement. We're going to continue on. If I may, Mr. Speaker, I'd like to brag a little bit about myself. In the presence of greasy mouth kids, even though they won't believe me. I'm a United States Supreme Court winner. Jurisdiction, National Farmers Union. Binet was a Gagalagosa, Flora not afraid. Attorney's fees, Beetle knew, tribe, Shalali, and we understood that. But was it Gish, she believed in the notion of sovereignty, that the case would be heard in tribal court. And that is the kind of belief that my mother had. There were ones like Richard Wilbur that made a stand in the cult severance tax case. And not only that, I'm a Montana Supreme Court winner as well. Leroy not afraid versus the Judicial Standards Commission. Kolala, I held a tribal office here. And I held a state office at the time. And you can't do that. And what I do in my government is none of your business, man. Kolala, you resign, take me to court, mush. In Kolala, Montana Supreme Court in a 5-1 decision. Balazase, Hido, always the base, be what it. Yekarish, always the base, be watch, by him, be here. He opened the door for me to do those things. And it really doesn't matter what anybody says or that has an opinion.
Thank you, Chief Judge. Got one more question here from Senator Goodluck. We'll get some lunch here. I believe everyone's getting hungry.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, Secretary, guests, members of the body. My question is, as a judge, in the reservation here, do you see a rise in heroin, drugs, other methamphetamine? I think we need to, you see a lot of these cases. What kind of drugs is starting to come up? Because I hear a lot about heroin that's starting to come to the Indian country. You could expound on some of these street drugs.
Mr. Speaker, Senator Goodluck, good question. The drug that's predominant right now is Bachid. It's methamphetamine. I've seen only 1 or 2 cases of spice in the 5 years I've been there. I have not seen a heroin case yet. That's not to say it doesn't exist, because a lot of the times when somebody's brought in on DUI, they're just charged with DUI, and it can't be detected with a breathalyzer. So that's not to say they're on another drug. Only a blood test could confirm that, or a hair follicle could confirm that. But to answer your question, the charge that I see the most is methamphetamine. I mean, And we don't take those matters lightly. We try to get them into treatment. We try to get them help. And oftentimes I have to get real with them. If they come in and they plead guilty on possession of a bindle or what have you, you can tell they're on it. I just say, how long you been on it? They either tell me or they don't. But then one of the questions I ask is, are you starting to see the shadow people? And when they answer yes, I go, okay, well, let's keep you for a few days. Let's sober you up. And please did touch his son, my G. And they go like, how do you know? The last time I used methamphetamine was February of 2003. And all these greasy-mouthed kids were with me, and I'm familiar with the drug and its use. I'm not proud of it, but by the grace of God, God helped me recover. And I've been clean and sober 12 years from any drug or alcohol by the grace of God. But to answer your question plainly, meth, Coach, hey, la walks that constantly is a problem. One of the things that we do, if they have multiple charges and they have a criminal history and they happen to be male, because that's the only facility that's available, is in Casper. We have about 5 there now, Isoxum, that are getting help. They're in treatment for 6 months to a year. They're trying to get off meth or sometimes it's booze. Be like, but let's get you some help, especially if they've been on the streets for like 2-3 months. They're like Holland, kamay shigla 2 years about and so again, Iji Mabali again. So I think he's still there unless he graduated. When they graduate, they're given a suspended sentence. We commute their sentence and they continue with aftercare at Crow Wellness. But yeah, meth, it's got a hold of our people, and it's hard to see. It's really heartbreaking, especially child and needed care cases. Yeah, some of them are born. The children are born meth addicted, and when I first got there at the tribal court, reading that stuff was kind of mind blowing. I had to learn how to callous and not take it personal. Malu.
So good.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. One question, the bonds, fines and the fees, did that get squared away with the judicial review, or get the drawdowns that you need, federal 638 grants? Maybe you can update us on that.
Mr. Speaker, members of the body, Senator Goodluck, good question. To answer your question about drawdowns, Ginger goes ahead may be able to answer that better than I, because we haven't had communication with the executive branch. Bonds, fines, fees. The Bureau of Indian Affairs has requested that we give it up. But the law that this body passed and the chairman signed into law is still governing law. As Vice Secretary said earlier, he put his hand on the Bible and promised to uphold the law. Now, if the Bureau of Indian Affairs is interfering in how we conduct business, that's their business, but I'm not going to violate Crow law. I've requested the executive to make an amendment that tells me to give up that account. We haven't touched, in fact, I think we've got it all. We can get you the books.
They've got it in today's packet.
It's in the packet. It'll tell you the exact numbers and the bank account and the forfeitures, just because that's what the law says. The fines and fees we've used to keep our branch afloat, and now we're only down to 600. about
Yeah.
$600, and
As of-
we've got no go-to anymore, and give it another month or two, they'll probably start shutting us down. As far as the drawdowns, to the best of my knowledge, no. And it's interesting, Senator, I'll forward you the OIG report about the Billings office, regional. OIG released a report recently about the regional office with Luis Reyes and company and the former area director, LeCount. And in that OIG report, it was done on the Wind River Indian Reservation, and the OIG, and I'll get you a copy of the article and also the findings, that this regional office is the weakest of all offices. And they don't know laws, they don't know federal regulations, they don't even know their own policy. And that's what the OIG found. And by them interfering in our tribal government, that is in my opinion, anti-sovereignty. Anyway, anti-sovereignty, they're trying to interfere in our government. But sad, old councils do, BIA, you don't belong in here. BIA, you don't belong in here, Makushili. But now we're allowing the BIA to come in here. So anyway.
Thank you. Any more questions? Senator Brown.
Oh, Leroy. Leroy, go, they like to charge. Tuck cake by living the beach. See that, you go there. Got to put load and get out, pay on with one. Yeah, not the job. Think like that. Smart, just smart Dodge. It's so long. Always got to put that, it was to be big guy. I even asked, så bænder sjovt, så det er nat bare til ude, og så bænder sjovt, det er, du tog der på gaden, lige vej, godt, hvad siger, det er sådan en halfway house, det er sådan en halfway house, godt, så de kræfter, der lå det, de skurser på ting, og meget så ikke, hvordan på det. Men det er sådan, kvis, så det er der kun nok, der meget sikkert. Du kan så der det pick up a good get to the street. To me, it cuts that one of the book, get the one not good. One of the roots is my big cold week. Each guy could go surprise a good boy, should you tell the judge, but you were one of the ladies to throw the books at him, and he was sour, you are stick. Reaches that cook even and he's on probation, what the hell, and put goodbye. As you come to look, I know your load's hard. Thank you for coming and making a report. Oh.
Toda, any more? Not, we'll go once.
Mr. Speaker, members of the body, budget time, I do have a request. Recently, this body has been gracious enough to approve budgets between $750 and $750 in recent times. If you approve our budget to be increased to 1.1 million, we will no longer need the BIA. That's where I'm at. Thank you.
I can't believe finance is starting to meet on budget, so at that time maybe you guys can come in and make that request. Also,
You bet.
make it in writing also. Yes.
Yeah, we will. And invite us to the finance committee meetings if you would. We'd like to be involved.
Yes.
Our general fund budget 3 years ago was 1.2 million.
It was.
Okay. With that, we'll go to lunch. I believe we have some lunch ready. Senator Boyers, Metro Ghana,